If you are not tapping into the cycles of your life and into the rhythm of nature, you're probably not actually enjoying the process of achieving your goals as much as you could. Let's learn more about this as we welcome spring in this Doodle to Doing. Welcome everyone to Doodle-to-Doing. I'm your host, Karen Light, artist and creative coach at How Doodle, where I support passionate overworkers in sparking their creativity to enjoy the ride of getting better results. Life is full of cycles, day and night, the weeks, our moods, the seasons, the moon, the course of a year. Often we forget this and try to make our lives consistent day in and day out. This inevitably sets us up for additional stress and possibly even feelings of failure. What would it look like instead to embrace the cycles, to accept that there are times for doing more and times for doing less? There are times for incubating ideas and times for turning them into reality. What ease and peace and joy might that bring into the process? I'm inviting my guest, Deborah Kozich of Infinite Coach and LoveMakers Foundation, to be a guest with each change of season to help us find that rhythm and tap into our natural cycles. Today, we're going to doodle to do our way and to tuning into the energy of spring and embracing its colors to help us bloom the goals that are in our hearts and on our minds. So welcome, Deborah. Hello. And welcome, doodlers. Hello. Thanks for being here. Go ahead and take a quick look at the spirit of a doodle. And you could take yourself off mute to yell out the one that's jumping out the most to you today.
Feel the flow.
Don't tolerate boredom.
Lighten up.
Mine's relax.
I'm going to go with, let's see what happens. Time changes, new season. Let's see what happens, right? So whatever one jumped out to you today, I want you to go ahead and write that down for yourself on your piece of paper. This is your intention for the duration of this podcast recording. So if you feel a little stuck, if you're feeling like you're taking things a little too seriously, I want you just to bring the spirit of a doodle back into your energy and have some fun with it. Time to warm up with a simple shape. So what I want everybody to do, grab whatever utensil you got and just draw a small, medium-ish, I don't care how big actually it is, a circle somewhere on your paper like this, and hold it up for me so I know everybody's good. Yes, look at all you talented doodlers. You already doodled, so you're already good. And now I want you just to take a minute and turn that circle into any kind of flower shape you want to. Turn that circle into any kind of flower shape. And as you're doodling that flower, bring a little curiosity into this. I want you to think about one goal that's on your mind and a question that you have about it. So as you're doodling, just think about one goal you have on your mind and a question you have related to it. And go ahead and write it down near your flower. All right, so what you have now is you have a circle, you have this lovely little flower shape, and we're going to be doing some longer doodles. If ever you get stuck, feel free to keep doodling on your flower. You can doodle more circles, you can make more flowers. Even if you don't know what to do around the prompt, just doodling brings a lot of benefits into your mind and body and opens up inspiration and creativity, even if it feels completely unrelated to what we're talking about. So you have a fallback and you have your intention to take you through the rest of our time together. I'm Karen. I am zooming in from Cincinnati, Ohio. Here is my flower. And the question that I have is, when am I doing too much and need to let go and relax more? That's a question that I'm always curious about.
I'm Sharon LaFlamme, and I'm coming to you from Cape Coral, Florida, and where the sun usually shines. So my flower turned into, it's starting to grow, and I doodled the sun, and I say, how can I shine upon myself for more growth and more flow? because let the flow was my
Mm.
intention.
So I'm Vanessa. I'm zooming in from Mexico, from Yucatan. And this is my doodle. I don't know if you could see, it's kind of backwards, the writing. It says, don't tolerate boredom. That's my flower. And what I wrote here is, why so serious? Like I noticed I was working on before this Zoom, and I'm so serious and so stern looking, and just not feeling, the excitement, even if it's something really special I'm doing. So the question that I'm writing is how to transform it, how to transform the seriousness into just excitement and just happiness.
Yes, thank you. I have that question a lot too. All right, who else would like to introduce themselves?
I guess I'll go next.
Yeah.
I'm Dina. Most of you know I mentioned I'm from Temecula, California. Here's my doodle. Not very good. And I don't know if I took
That's
that
perfect.
question too literal. I know, and I feel I definitely get easily distracted, but I had wrote down organize, and then I wrote how do I complete this? I feel like it's never ending, like I've never completed it for forever. That's my thing. I need to organize, and I end up making more of a mess. But that's not very deep.
No, it's so good, because one of the reasons that I like everybody to kind of talk about this stuff is because our questions are on so many levels. No question is wrong, and sometimes we're dealing with more concrete things that are on our mind, and sometimes we might have something a little bit more abstract, but all is good and all can be explored. And, they're usually also interrelated. So I actually heard some deep stuff within your concrete question even, and related to it completely. And your doodle is gorgeous too. There is no right or wrong with a doodle. It is perfect. Love it.
I'm Deborah Kozich, and I'm here from beautiful Lake Arrowhead, California. I'm using yellow today because it's prominent with the color of choice for where I'm choosing to bloom from. So I use yellow, and my question, my inspiration was relax. So what came to me when I did this was, how can I relax in the knowing of what my next steps are for business success?
So I'm going to introduce Deborah a little bit more before we jump into talking about our awesome topic for today and doing some more doodling. So Deborah Kozich is a president of Infinite Coach LLC, certified transformational life coach, and love and light energy techniques practitioner, CEO of LoveMakers Foundation, and a published author of Absolute Love, 12 Principles of Love in Life and Business. She has worked in the coaching industry for 15 years and works as a life and business coach, empowering individuals who are going through major life changes to feel empowered to answer, where do I go from here? Love and light energy is a tool used in her practice. She uses it in her practice to release blocks, negative energy, opening pathways for individuals to regain hope, faith, creative wisdom, strength, energy, awakening a renewed awareness of infinite potential hidden within each of us. Her desire is to help you find your own superpower for insurmountable success. Using light energy as a tool to adapt to the change of seasons in life. During our interview, we'll be taking pauses for some doodling, so keep your paper and doodling utensil ready. Remember the spirit of a doodle, and that you can always simply go back to the warm-up doodle if you feel stuck. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or there'll be time to discuss them at the end. Welcome, Deborah. Thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to have this discussion with you. I'm excited that you're coming every change of seasons, because I don't know, I think it's one of those things that, when you start playing with it more and more, it just makes life more interesting. It's not the same old boring thing all the time, right? Creates some dynamic cycles. Yeah. So my first question is, what are your thoughts around how we can really embrace the change of seasons? Some people struggle with change and feel like they just got something set up and now it's changing again, and that can be hard for folks. So what are things that you recommend that they think about to really embrace when things change like this, like the seasons?
Oh, well, first of all, with spring coming, we need to all remember that we're born to bloom. And if we can remember this through any season, then it becomes a gift for us. It's a light that we have within that allows us to bloom, to grow through whatever we may be growing through. So just like winter gives way to spring and spring to fall, every season has its ups and downs. Same with we as humans, we have ups and downs. So when we are able to adapt to change and the rhythms and the cycles of seasons, as an example, then we're able to better adapt to embracing that change and experiencing it, and looking to nature, for an example, to see how the trees stand strong and firm through wind and rain and snow. And it's a fine example of how we can adapt to change through all seasons of life, no matter what we're going through, and to look to nature and the gifts that nature shares so that we can find a grounding. And some of the tips that I like to share is when we're able to embrace the energy that we are. It's a light energy of who we are. When we're able to play with that, and then we're able to know that the effects of that, I kind of like to envision that we're inside of a prism. We're that light energy, we're in that prism. And then the refraction of that light that goes out becomes the energy that we can then concentrate on and to utilize in being able to bloom through whatever you're going through. So, because we can use that light as resources to grow and to use as influence and inspiration. And also the power of breath would be another way to embrace the cycles of seasons. We so often forget to breathe. And it's been out in social media a lot lately. Breathe, breathe, breathe. But what I invite you to do right now is to just put your hand over your mouth. Take a deep breath and breathe out. And when you do that, you're reminding yourself that you are the power of breath. You're reminding yourself to breathe. You felt that breath. It was warm. It was clammy. It was sticky. But that's your life force. That's who you are. So when you can embrace the power of breath to ignite who you are through all cycles of seasons, remember to breathe through whatever you're going through. It'll allow you to ignite the light within, to go through whatever that might be that you're going to sustain the energy, to smell, to breathe, to feel, to go with the flow, to enjoy, like with the season coming up, the going from budding to blooming. And then of course, we know each season we learn to adapt differently. And then also we learn to cherish and focus on the good. When we can do this, that helps us to embrace the cycles of the changes of seasons, no matter what cycle we may be in life personally. Like you mentioned, the moods, possibly we're going through menopause, or we're dealing with a death. Life offers change and opportunity to how we adapt to that. So when we can embrace and focus on the good through it, we're able to find a place of gratitude and to be more joyful in spirit. It's like blooming, finding a way to bloom through it. Like the petal has to open up, it has to grow, it has to bloom, and it gets its nourishment from the sun. We too have to do that every day when we wake up. What are we thankful for? Ask yourself, what are you thankful for? What is good in this day? What is one thing right now that you're thankful for? And just think about it, just one thing. You can always find one thing that makes you feel happy and joyful and colorful, maybe a favorite color. And then it's important, like with what Karen did at the beginning of the Doodle podcast, is to set an intention. It's so important to set an intention every day. And I like to ask, what is my divine spirit calling me to do today? That helps us set stage for a goal in that day, or in the moment, like in this class, Doodle class that we're doing right now. It creates a space where we can open up positive intentions and to go with the flow and be playful with it too. And then also, I like to, with my clients, what I like to do is invite them to create their own divine toolbox, because as we go through life, different things work for different people. And when you find things that work for you, you want to put them somewhere so that they're easily accessible. And when you create a divine toolbox, then things can be in there, such as doodling, prayer, light energy, yoga. This is where you can go to access quickly courage and strength and wisdom. But you always will know that whatever you're putting in there comes from your energy field of light, because that's what ignited that energy to go in that box, because it created forward movement. It created a vision of where you could go next, your next steps. And it becomes a place where you can also make affirmations with yourself, appointments with yourself. So you could put sticky notes in there and say, okay, this is going to be my affirmation for today. This is going to be my affirmation for the week. There's so many ways you can that you can embrace cycles of the day, cycles of the week, cycles of the month, and cycles of your season.
Those are wonderful. So many things really jumped out to me. Nature has for me also been such reassurance, right? Like you said about the trees, like it weathers the things and the leaves come back, and it continue. Like if you just notice it, it happens and it endures it well, and it always comes back. And that's something that even in my most stressful times has brought me a lot of like reassurance. Like it's going to be okay. The season will change. The time will change. And I love what you're sharing here at the end too, of having this toolbox, this toolkit. Like, what would it look like to really actually make one? Not just be like, oh, I have a bunch of tools in my head, but because when we're in our most stressful times, that's when we forget things. That's when our brain isn't really on. And if we just think we're going to remember it, then we're kind of setting ourselves up to not. Like, it's like we need something that we can go to. Whether it's concrete, whether it's digital. I like to also create toolkits with a lot of my clients too. So you don't have to rely on that brain working all the time, because it doesn't always work, right?
Yeah.
So thank you. Those
and
are
we remind that there's a time for every season. So this is where we know that the light is from within, and that's where we can light up that light through any season. So then the creativity comes in, and that's where you can start putting things in that toolbox that works for each individual.
Absolutely. Like use the creativity while it's lit up to create that thing, and then you have it for your future self will thank you, right?
Yeah.
So let's take a second. Let's take 1 minute to do a doodle right here. Inspired by what Deborah just shared, I would like you to create a little doodle to help you embrace the change of seasons in your life. Whatever stuck out to you, whatever inspired you or made you think about something, do a little doodle that if you saw it, it might just help your future self embrace a change, or maybe your current self if you're going through one. If you haven't started your toolkit, you just did. So that's pretty cool. You already got a doodle to put in there. So in the title of this podcast, of course, is this word bloom. And Deborah, you've been talking about blooming. And springtime is it's lovely. I'm such a visual person. So spring to me is just seeing flowers bursting, right? All those colors coming into life. And in a few minutes, you're going to lead us in this love and light energy meditation using these colors. But before we get there, how would you describe light energy to people? What does that mean?
Succinctly so, because there's so many ways to describe light energy, but the most specific way for people to get it and understand it is just simply know that light energy is a form of kinetic energy. It is a form of nature, and light energy composes all of the matter in the universe, including you and I. So light energy is what sustains life. It is who we are. You are light energy. I am light energy.
Well, that's pretty cool to know. And I love it too. It's that reminder that we are all one, that we're all connected, that this is flowing through all of us. None of us are without, if we can access it and build this toolkit up. So even though that was a really brief answer, I think that it is such an important reminder for everybody. And whatever comes up for you, when you imagine yourself as light energy, I want you to do a 1-minute doodle, capturing yourself as that light energy. This title also alluded that we're going to use these colors, this light energy and the colors, to help us bloom our goals. And Deborah, I know the colors, I'm an artist, so colors are things I could talk about all day long, what they might mean, how they inspire me. And then, of course, on a spiritual realm, there's so many meanings. Can you share with us some of the colors that you want to think about in terms of spring and meanings that we could consider around those colors?
Of course. As I share the energies of these colors, because I'm picking 4, they're just pronounced for springtime. And we know that there's a variety of colors, that the rainbow, that we reflect from the rainbow and the colors of light. But 4 in particular, as I introduce them, know that we are, as human beings, we are the prism of light that refracts light. So imagine that as I'm sharing these colors with you, that you can use it as light energy, not only refracting from you, but then coming back and reflecting from what you do, say. It could be done through your sight, through healing, through transformation modalities. There's so many ways we can use the color of light. So the examples that I have for today are joyful yellow. And this comes from your diaphragm. It's what we use in our light energy technique. It's through the vortex centers. So this comes through your diaphragm, and welcoming spring and the springtime bloom. It's such a wonderful color to use because it inspires hope and happiness. Welcoming the sun, which gives us the vibrant energy and sunlight and breathing. We spoke about the breath of life. So here through the diaphragm, we can use the color yellow to ignite feelings of warmth and healing and serotonin levels, which when we lift our serotonin levels, those are our feel-good hormones. Those also help to excrete vitamin D if we're exposed to the sunlight, which is so important. So yellow is a good color to use in blooming into and through the spring. The second color of choice is violet, blooming violet, let's call it, because it helps to bloom the energy centers coming from our crown, the top of our head, down through our body. And this is where we can embrace creative wisdom connecting to our higher consciousness, aligning with our higher self. So it's fun to play with this, because when you're asking questions and using purple and violet light, you can connect those energies to spiritual wisdom, empowerment, destiny, your divine purpose, awareness. Vibrant orange. This is a light vortex that's used through your solar plexus. You're centered in breathing, representing a protective energy. So if you're welcoming springtime or going through seasons in your life where you might feel you need more protection, you could activate the center, use more orange in your attire, eat more orange food, fruit. There's so many ways you can incorporate colors into your life. Orange brings forth more perception and vitality, creativity and determination, warmth and compassion. So this is a color that you can choose to ignite within your vortex center of the solar plexus, if those might be areas that you're lacking in or desiring more of. And then we are going to play with ruby red. I'm calling it an intense color because intense ruby red is where in the vortex centers that we use, we light up the heart center. This is where it's really important to connect with your heart, mind, and healing center. This is where when you connect with your heart and using the color of red and bringing in so many other vibrant colors to work in harmony with it, you'll experience more energy and tenacity, commitment, dedication and victory, healthier emotions and healthier relationships, including direction and purpose. So these are just 4 examples of how we can use light energy to incorporate going through different cycles in our lives, and in this case, blooming forward in some of our goals that we set forth to attain.
Okay, so we got a joyful yellow, we got a blooming violet, we've got vital orange or something? Vibrant orange. It was a V word, I knew it. And a ruby red. So
Ruby red.
So of those 4 colors, go ahead and pick one for yourself. Which color is calling to you today? What's calling to you today? And draw just a little symbol that goes with it for the next minute. What color? If you have it, that's great. If you just have, a pen or a pencil, that's okay too. You don't actually have to have the color in your hand to pick it and draw something to go with it.
You can visualize the color.
Yeah, absolutely. Just bring it into your mind. Now that you have picked your color, you have some intention around it, we have curiosity activated, we are going to be led into a lovely light energy meditation by Deborah, and we're going to follow that into our longer doodle. So right now, all you need to do is empty your hands, get nice and comfortable in your chair, and we invite you to close your eyes so you can go within during this meditation, and I'll let Deborah take it away.
This is a great time to just totally relax. welcome the springtime bloom. Wherever you are in your life, whatever cycle you're in, just take time to just relax now. I invite you to just totally relax. Enjoy this space with no interruptions. This is a space for rejuvenation, to find a calming energy, centering and balanced. Let's call it springtime bloom. So let's begin. I invite you to close your eyes and breathe deeply. Take a deep breath. Count for 5 and slowly exhale. 5, 4, 3. Relax. As you find yourself totally relaxed, notice where you are sitting or laying. Wherever you are, you're totally relaxed. You may now choose to find yourself in a favorite place where you can enjoy the arrival of spring with its beautiful flowers in full bloom. A favorite field perhaps, or a park bench where you can look at the beautiful flowers ready to bloom. Here you are invited to simply be. Now notice how you feel in this welcome state. Calm, peaceful, letting go of anything tense. Simply notice your breath. Continue to relax and breathe. Now I invite you to visualize a 1.7-inch star, 11 inches above your crown. Focus on the star as it ignites massive white light energy. Feel the intensity, the warmth, radiance, and vibrant energy. Know that you are safe. Now release any blocks, known or unknown. That's it. Let them go to the universe. Let them disappear to harm and hurt no others. Just let them go. Feel now. Rays of white light engulf your whole body, heart, mind, and spirit. You feel its magnificence inside and out, resting in divine harmony. Here, you can choose to massage all your internal organs, neurons, cells, your spine, your whole body now feels the warmth of white light, igniting and reigniting with every breath. Invite also your favorite springtime color at this time. Notice how this color makes you feel. Now light up integrating with the white light. And repeat to yourself, I am perfect health. I am free of pain. I am flexible. I am creative. I am divinely guided by spirit of truth in all areas of my life. I am gratefully refreshed and energized, blooming, colorful and bright, inside and out, outside and in. My creative energy ignites now, fully in bloom. My personal and business goals are illuminated and met with next steps. I welcome now springtime delight. I am grateful. Thank you. And so it is.
Beautiful. Just keep taking some nice deep breaths. Really feeling that energy. Really feeling the calm, centeredness. And enjoying the moment. Enjoying this moment right before everything blooms. The potential that's there. The way that the seasons show us that it is going to happen. So maybe the excitement that's there. Really reconnecting with those feelings. And from this place, being showered in that lovely light and color energy, bring your goal and your question back to mind. Imagine that goal coming into full bloom. How do you feel? What's happening in your life because this goal has come into bloom? Now imagine yourself doing something to make that happen. You're co-creating this bloom. You're co-creating it with the light energy that already exists within you. You're co-creating it with being guided by whatever your divine source is. You're co-creating it with nature that naturally takes us through these cycles and the momentum that we are in right now. What's your part in that co-creation? What's one thing that you see yourself doing to bloom that goal? And as you start to see yourself blooming that goal, taking that action, I want you to slowly blink your eyes open, and for the next 5 minutes, doodle about that. Doodle what you saw in that meditation, what actions might be coming up, but just follow it for 5 minutes. You might be inspired to start somewhere and end up somewhere completely different. It could turn out to be something very concrete, or it could be completely abstract and maybe not even show you what it has to do with the question at all. We're just going to trust the doodle right now for the next 5 minutes. Remember your intention and enjoy the process of just doodling, inspired by everything we've been talking about.
And I'm definitely going the adventurous way today. So I'm willing to hear what you guys have to share about it.
I see path to the stars, and then there's one star with this red inside, this intensity inside, and the path and the growth to the stars lighting up.
Path to the stars, a fun phrase. I'm noticing when I look at it, just that all the stars have like a similar shape, but there's variety in the color and there's variety in the shape. And so to me, it makes me think about like almost having this idea that's like a kernel of like something really fun and solid to play with, and then seeing how it slightly transforms as you go and move around, seeing what might be added or changed about it.
May I share?
Yeah.
Okay, I see four energy fields activated with the star energy, starting at the crown to the heart, to the solar plexus, to possibly the sacral area. And then I see inside hearts in two of them. So I feel that there's a connective energy that's connecting the energy of light and love. A reflection of possibly moving through and achieving your goals as you follow the connective energies and allowing them to work in harmony.
What's resonating for you, Vanessa?
Well, I was listening a little bit to what you were saying about the plexus, and the way I started it is that would be where I would start, like sort of like how I relate with different, it could be different people in life, or it could be with my processes, like this one, which is the last one that I drew. It's like it's like a small, how do you say that? A small exploit, but in the end, because it's all connected together in a way. Nothing is small, it's part of like everything, which is a little bit what Deborah was saying. And it was funny because I was doing that. I was thinking, oh no, I don't have any violet colors. That's such a shame, And I picked up brown and I started drawing, and I realized that actually it is violet. It's not brown. So it has to do with being surprised about something. You start with something and you think it's going to be a certain outcome, and it's not. It's something completely different. What you were talking about earlier. And like the way I was doing also this path of connecting, like if you look, it kind of goes and it looks like it's going to go to this one. So it's like what you were talking about, setting an intention, but then it doesn't. And it goes here, and then it goes back to this one towards the end. So it's like being okay about, going to different paths, and it's not always the one that I planned, but somehow all the aspects of my life and all the aspects of my work, it's gonna kind of come together a little bit. What you both say. So.
Yeah, it makes me, when you share that, just like the sort of, I don't know, lie that getting to our goals is linear. It's not a linear process at all.
Yeah.
And, so allowing ourselves to go on the caveats and the the dead ends sometimes, but also like what we gather while we're there, That's beautiful.
To know that it's okay to adapt to change, because that's going with the flow with life, the seasons of change. And yet you were able to ignite the light in each of these processes by keeping the light flowing, whether it be a visualization of a star coming from your heart center. You know that you have that activation because you're using it either as a visualization or knowing that you are it, because you're allowing yourself those processes. And that star didn't go away. It allowed you to stay the course, whether it was up, down, over, you were able to go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Vanessa.
Happy face. And I wrote on there freeing and relaxing, because when I've given myself the time, which Deborah has helped me a ton with, of finding that balance between work and doing the things that I would like to do. Well, and some things I don't want to, right? Like cleaning and all that. But this is when like I actually have the time. It's my husband and I, and just outside, really taking in the scenery of the trees and the sunshine, and my dogs. So we let them out front, and we're fortunate enough to be on some property that it's just such a nice feeling to take in all that outdoor, and I guess knowing too, like I don't feel rushed, like I actually have the time to hang out and enjoy, and yeah, really soak up my surroundings and be with my family and puppies that I love. It's like it's my happy place, one of my happy places. Yeah,
Such a-
very, very little kid.
yeah, I love it. It's such a good reminder, right? Like, I think we're so programmed to think that we need to be rushing, or that we should be in a rush, or that everything is a time crunch, or everything is urgent. And just having those reminders, telling ourselves, actually, I'm not in a rush. Actually, I do have time for this. One thing that I really find helps me a lot, and is if I find myself saying I don't have time, is I change it to like, I'm not choosing to use my time in that way. And then that makes me stop and think, like, wait a second, is that an okay choice? Actually, that is my choice. So that makes me think of that. And I really appreciate your doodle. Can I say one thing I see in it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I love a tree in a drawing. Like, I could talk about trees and drawing forever. Like, it's very Jungian. If you're into Jungian psychology, there's a lot of tree talk. But that tree is so strong. Like, it looks like it has been there for a while, and it is really blue, like it is full. And that trunk is like, to me, like the well, if you look at like Jungian psychology, a lot of times they talk about the trunk being like your core, like who you are, yourself. And it's a strong, sturdy, self that I think, to me, says that, it can sustain a lot of life. It can sustain a lot of play. It can sustain what you're doing. And it's very trustworthy. Like, there's a lot of trust in that tree to me. So that's something that I was seeing, for whatever it's worth, or at least maybe I just needed to see it. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, I saw it as a place where where you can go to find your balance. So that's a great choice that you're aware of, so that when you need to step aside and to reignite your light within. You get overwhelmed or too much work, you know where to go to find that harmony and that balance. So that's, like Karen was saying, it's that definition of the tree is so profound, because that's where you go to get regrounded, to get the nourishment from earth, from Mother Earth, from the sun, the vitamin D, the feel-good hormones, and then to be able to take time to play with your puppies and your loved ones. Very nice. Thank you for sharing that, Dina. That was very beautifully and well drawn, by the way.
Yes. Let me show you some very childish.
Doodle's all about our inner child, so that's fun. Nothing of this is supposed to could be anything other than playful expressions.
So mine has actually been a process, and I want to thank Deborah for the imagery that she's brought into, and the color and form and abstractness, because just from the very beginning, I started with this process. So I'm going to take you guys along my process.
Yeah.
So it's kind of started with like the sun, right? And it comes through the prism, and it's the rainbow, and it goes right into the earth. And we all know, and I know from teaching hair color for years, that every color, the 4 blooming ones, are waves. Every color is a wave. Every sound is a wave. Everything is a wave of energy. And it's the colors affect us with however that wavelength affects us. And so we're always seeing the color in concrete ways, but we experience them in abstract ways. So my final doodle is, I will tell you what this meant to me. So the earth is rotating, right? And right now it's spring. This is the earth, and we're rotating around it. And so right now, this sun is coming onto the ice and snow, okay? But the prairie be green somewhere else. But we can always see the sun, and the sun is always available to us. And the power of its heat, the power of its color, the power of the waves, radiation, and the waves that we don't see, but we feel, ultraviolet and infrared. But the thing that attracted me to making this is, here's Mother Earth. And one of my grandest teachers was Tao Portion Lynch. And she used to talk about who you are inside. And you have the power of the little seed that's stuck inside the earth, in its darkness, in its dampness, in its cold. And it rises up through, without the sun, and right through the ice and snow. And that crocus pops itself out with that energy and that power and that life force, because we all have that life force. And I believe it's universal, right? I mean, it's the sun, it's the earth, it's the universe, it's life force that's within us, guiding and growing and evolving and inspiring us to bloom into our newest self in spring.
That's beautiful. I love the whole story.
Because it doesn't mean much.
Oh,
Dina, this is pretty poor.
It's beautiful. No, I love
Great.
it. Yeah.
I like it, Sharon. It reminds me of when I've been to the planetarium, you know, when you sit and then the cinema theater and you see like all the whole world. That's kind of what your drawing gives me, like this perspective of this whole planet we live on. It's really like simple, but very like encompassing at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to remember where all of our gifts come from, because you share there the colorful energies from Mother Earth, and then the synergy of how it interacts with all seasons of change. And when we learn to adapt and go through that personally and with nature, remembering that we are the light that connects with the light above, it allows us to keep blooming through whatever we might be going through. Sharon, that was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was also really connecting with the waves that you were sharing before. Like, I just love that reminder of like, you know, we're riding the waves. Sometimes it's going to feel like here and sometimes going to feel like here, but it's just all vibrating, and we're all just, and it is movement, and it is powerful, and it's all happening all the time. And just sometimes we can kind of direct those, when we can really direct those waves with a lot of our intention and our awareness, then that life force becomes very potent for us. Like, it becomes something that we're like, oh, I like what is coming of my life force, because things are always coming of it, but how are you directing it is what you want coming from it, you know?
Yeah, that intention, like Deborah brought up, it's everything, really.
Yeah. Look at all your doodles for a minute. Before you close your eyes, just flip through them. Sharon just kind of walked us through all of hers, which makes me think of this. Just look at all of them. There's probably a story from where we started with your first little doodle, your first little flower, all the way to the end. There's already a story in there for you. And that story might be saying something right now. It could say something different tomorrow, or you could read a different part of the story tomorrow. But notice how you already have a beautiful guided story for yourself that you could put in this toolbox that Deborah talked about. And then go ahead and close your eyes. And when we close our eyes, we tell our brain it doesn't have to take in any more information. It can start integrating everything that's already inside of us. We've talked about some beautiful things. Deborah shared some inspiring ideas and an inspiring meditation. You've got your goals that you thought about, your curiosities, your questions. let your brain integrate that and ask it, what's one thing that I can do this week to bloom my goals? What's one way I can be this co-creator in the process, to do my part, to guide that life force energy towards the things that I want? What's one small, actionable, concrete thing? And I want you to trust whatever answer comes up in that space. It might be really obvious why that answer came up. Could feel a little like, oh, what? But just write it down anyway. Whatever answer came up for you, write it down. Sometimes our guidance likes, as Vanessa's picture showed us, to take us on little loops to gather new information. So even if it doesn't seem directly related, it could still be a good reason for it. Well, I hope you were inspired. I hope you feel like doing this one thing this week is something you're more excited to do, even if there may be a little bit of stepping outside of your comfort zone. I hope you feel like, all this beautiful light energy and color energy and inspiration can help you to take that next step, because your goals are a part of you. They're your like little babies that you're helping bring to life. So I hope this helped that journey a little bit. Deborah, thank you so much for being here. Really, your energy, the beauty that you bring, the meditation was just gorgeous. The way we're thinking about light energy is so inspiring. I am going to put in the links of this show, Deborah's information, so you can connect with her. She's also got a special offer for this spring called Born to Bloom. I think that's what it's called. Deborah, correct me?
Yeah.
Born to Bloom, which is, you started off that, and I meant to say that even, like that was just like, yes, born to bloom. We are born to bloom. It's like inevitable. Doesn't that bring some reassurance? It's inevitable.
Through it all.
Through it all. Through it all. Thank you so much for all of you for being here and sharing your doodles, your creativity, and giving these ideas to everybody who might be watching. You can find out more about our creations and coaching at howdoodle.com. But until next time, keep sparking that creativity.